Hey y'all, it's Robin. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing my next round of recent reads. I have so many books that I need to talk about. I am 22 books behind on my recent reads, and I don't want to talk about 22 books in one video, so we're going to talk about 10 today and 12 in the next video. So getting right into it, first up is The Death God's Sacrifice by Jenny Nordbak. I actually read this as well as The Demon's Bargain by Katie Robert, The Helmholtz Guardian by Adriana Herrera, as well as The Vixen's Deceit by Nikki Sloan. These are the first 4 books in the Peculiar Taste series. I gave The Death God Sacrifice 3.5 stars. I thought it was good, but I am like, as I'm thinking about it, like I don't remember a ton about it. I believe we were following Medusa's sister who ends up having a romance with a god. If I'm remembering correctly, she ends up taking the place of a sacrifice, and the two of them end up having a romance and getting revenge on some evil people. The Demon's Bargain is a Bargainer demon and witch romance, and I thought that one was fine. I gave that one 3 stars. It was a little meh for me. It didn't give me a whole lot. My favorites were The Helmholtz Guardian by Adriana Herrera, which I gave 4 stars. That was a part snake, part man demon and a Slayer romance. It gave me lots of Buffy vibes, and I really liked that one. And then The Vixen's Deceit by Nikki Sloan, which is a very unpopular opinion. I know a lot of people didn't like that one because it doesn't have much romance. You're kind of following this guy as he goes through this haunted house, and I thought it was awesome. I loved it a lot. It was really spooky and perfect for October, so I give that one 4 stars. So that's the Peculiar Taste series. I would still like to finish it out, but I wasn't loving the series, and so I didn't feel super drawn to finish it up last month, but at some point I would like to finish it just because I am a completionist in some ways. So next I read Witches Get Stitches by Juliet Cross, which I gave 5 stars. I am so obsessed with this series. This is the 3rd book in the Stay a Spell series. I have since read even more in this series. This is Violet's romance, and Violet is one of the twin sisters, and it is her romance with Nico, who is the cousin of the hero in book 1. Nico is a werewolf, and Nico struggles to control his wolf urges, and so that is kind of the big plot in here. Violet is a seer, but she also has the ability to kind of imbue things with magic, and she is working on this way to tattoo charms onto paranormal beings to help them control or harness certain powers. And so the big plot in this one is she is working on a tattoo for werewolves to help control their darker wolfy urges. And that's kind of the big plot in here, and it's really cute, and I liked this one a lot. This series is really fun and funny, and I just have such a good time with it. Don't let these really cute covers fool you. The series is also super steamy, and I love the series so much. I've given every single book in the series 5 stars because I just love it so much. Next is That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon by Kimberly Lemming, which I gave 4.5 stars. I have been sleeping on this series. I've seen it going around quite a bit, and it's been on my TBR forever, and I finally decided to pick it up, and I loved this first book. It was ridiculously funny. I loved the premise. This series doesn't take itself too seriously. It kind of steers into the quirkiness of this series while still having a really good premise and good relationships and all of that. So in this one, we were following our main character, Cinnamon, and her parents are cinnamon farmers. And she lives in this kind of medieval inspired town where every few years they have somebody that they send off to help protect the city against the evil demons. And it is our heroine who meets a demon, and she learns that the demons aren't actually evil, but the person that they thought was their god and their protector is actually evil. And it is her pairing up with this demon and going around and trying to take out the evil god. And it is their romance. Like I said, it's super funny. This is the first, I think, travel romance that I have legitimately loved, because traveling stories are not my favorite, but there's not a lot of them walking around doing things. It's more like we went somewhere and now we're here, which I really appreciated. And so I really ended up loving this one. I have since read the sequel as well. So 4.5 stars to that one. Let's get the one bummer of a book out of the way. That's Hunting Adeline by H.G. Carlton. I DNF'd this at 75%. And for all... this book has so many 5-star ratings, an absurd amount of 5-star ratings, and I straight up do not understand. I just don't get it. So I read book one. I don't remember if I read in September or earlier in October or what, but I ended up liking that one. I thought it was good. It was dark, but it wasn't too dark. This book was unnecessarily, gratuitously dark. This didn't need to do what it did. Like it didn't. I felt while I was reading this book that H.G. Carlton was just putting things in here just for the shock factor, not because it added to the story, not because it like advanced the plot in any way, just to like torture the reader. Like that's what it felt like. In this one, we're following, this is mildly spoilery, but I'm not putting up a spoiler because I think it's important that you know what you're getting into if you go into the series. In this one, the heroine is abducted by a sex trafficking ring, and she is taken to this like hideaway house where she is living with, it's like 4 or 5 other women, and these women are brutally raped constantly on page, like all the time. It is just graphic sexual assault over and over and over again for hundreds of pages. All right. I need you to understand that it doesn't happen once, it happens for hundreds of pages. Hundreds. And not only is it like on page rape and on page sexual assault, but these women attack each other because they are like so stressed and in such like a toxic situation that they end up fighting. So there's blood and gore. There is a scene of hunting the women. So the women are released into the woods and they are hunted by men with arrows and guns. It was so much. And I was at the 75% mark and they had just got her out. Just. And I was just like, what is the point of 75% of this book just me reading about our heroine getting raped? Like it wasn't necessary to me. And I could not do it for another second because I was just like, why are we doing this still? Like you could have told me that this was what the situation was and like done it in a way that wasn't gratuitous, and you went there, and I did not like it. I didn't appreciate it. I didn't think it was necessary in any regard, and I am kind of on the fence about whether or not I'm going to pick up any more books by Ishii Carlton. So that's my little rant review about Hunting Adeline. The other DNF that I had this month was A Cosmic Kind of Love by Samantha Young. I read another Samantha Young, I think it was last year, that I really enjoyed, which is why I ended up requesting this one. And I thought that the premise of this one sounded really cute. This one is following our heroine who is a wedding planner, and she is planning this wedding. When she receives like some emails from the new bride that she is working with, she receives a couple of messages that include videos, and one of the videos is an accidental upload by the bride, and it is her ex-boyfriend who is an astronaut. And our heroine ends up meeting the astronaut, and it was supposed to be their romance. And I didn't like the characters or the writing in here. The heroine, I felt like Samantha Young was trying to make the heroine super quirky, and it just ended up being off-putting to me. And I didn't like their like meet cute. It ended up just feeling really creepy to me. So the heroine watches these videos and like keeps watching them, and she keeps going, this is really wrong of me to watch these videos. And then she video messages him and is like, hey, I watched your video, sorry. And I was like, why would you do that? It just didn't work for me. I didn't like the heroine, and I was like, if I don't like the heroine, I'm not gonna like her romance. So I just decided to nap that one. I put it down just before 20%. So, and then the last two, first up, I reread Legendborn by Tracy Deonn because Bloodmarked comes out in just a couple of days when I am filming this, and I wanted to reread this one before going into Bloodmarked. I gave this one 5 stars. Again, I still love this series so much. The twists and turns at the end just get me every single time. This follows our main character, Bree, who attends an early college program at Chapel Hill, and while she is there, she ends up witnessing magic, and she is pulled into this secret society that is all surrounding the Arthurian legends and demons and magic, and it is her uncovering her own past and family lineage and magic. I love this series a lot. I think it's fantastic. I love the writing. Like I said, I love all the twists and turns and reveals and things like that. And then the final book that I'm going to talk about in this video is Junk Shop Blues by Cole McCade. I am going to preface this by saying, get ready for a lot of Cole McKay books in my recent reads because I am completely and utterly obsessed with this series. I've talked about this a lot, but I'm going to talk about it here as well. If you have not started the Criminal Intention series, start it now. This series is so, so good. It is this series following these two detectives. One of them is Malcolm, who is a senior detective in the Baltimore Police Department, as well as Sanjay, who is a recent transfer from the LAPD. And the two of them are teamed up. And in the first book, they are uncovering a serial killer who is taking out queer men, which is the reason that the two of them ended up getting teamed up for this, because they are both queer men themselves and they wanted to be put on this case. And so it is them becoming partners and working together, and it is their super, super, super slow burn romance. And each of the books has its own like murder mystery in it. If you think that you don't like detective stories, I urge you to give this one a try because it is so good. But this is a book 2, and I am currently halfway through book 6. So that is how addictive this series is. I am completely in love with it. These characters are fantastic. I love the discussions and the representation that is in here. I'll be talking about the series even more in my next recent reads because there's a lot of them on my next recent reads. That is it for this recent reads. That is all 10 books. Like I said, there's going to be another round of recent reads coming on a Friday because I have 12 more books to talk about. So let me know if you have read any of these. Let me know if you added any of these to your TBR, and I will catch y'all in my next video. Bye.